Yeah, 3 minutes and 15 seconds, that's a bit long for a guitar solo, but hey, I'm going to share it with you guys anyway. So what you're about to see and hear is a live guitar solo that I played at a recent gig. Again, it's only a little over 3 minutes long here, but hang around till after the solo. I've got some really valuable tips I'd like to share with you guys in regards to playing live solo gigs or just performing live in general. All right, let's dive into these tips, and I'm really excited to share these with you guys. But real quick, I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to all the folks at Keel Curley Winery. You guys are always so good to me, and I love playing at this venue. And also thank you so much to my good friend and booking agent for this gig, Todd at Kuhl One Management. I'm truly grateful to be playing on this stage, so thank you guys. Now, these tips obviously cater towards the live solo gigging musician, but even if you don't play live, and maybe you want to at some point, well, hang around, this is going to help you. But even if you have no intent in ever getting up on stage or playing in front of people, I'm going to give you a gentle push here, okay? I want you to play in front of people. I don't care if you just do this as a hobby. I want you to get out there and play in front of either a group of friends, or even better, take your guitar to an open mic. You can find open mics local in most areas anywhere. It does so much for you, and it will take your playing to an entirely different level. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is dynamics at your live solo gigs. This is crucial, I believe, to any type of gig, And of course, you can apply the concept of dynamics to really any facet of playing guitar and music, and that'll make more sense as we talk more about this. So what you notice during the guitar solo is, hey, there's somebody playing acoustic in the background, but wait a minute, your acoustic's right there behind you. Dude, Jason, what's going on? So this is a very simple way to add those dynamics to your gigs here, and that's just by using a looper pedal. Now, for this specific gig, I was using the Ditto X4, and I'm not going to get into the actual looper itself. Maybe I'll do like a demo of that later. I don't even use it to its full capacity, but what I'm doing here is I'm simply, and I'll show you a little clip, I'm simply just recording a rhythm, and then I'm going to play some lead over the top of that loop that I just recorded. And in this case, I also changed out my wireless from my acoustic, and then I went and plugged it into my electric, as you can see here, which I'm taking a really long time to do this. You really shouldn't take this long, but I'll do this quite often. I'll loop an acoustic rhythm, and then I'll switch over to my electric. Now, I'm also using the Pod Go, the Line 6 Pod Go, so that gives me the quick ability to change patches. I've got some patches set up for acoustic, and I've got some set up for electric. So if I'm switching guitars like that, I'll quickly just go over and change the patch once I have my electric, and then I'll start soloing. Now, to simplify things, and I like simple, you don't have to go to electric, right? If you're primarily playing acoustic at your gigs, which is what I primarily do, I just like to add in that electric, but you could loop the acoustic rhythm and then just start playing some acoustic leads on top of that. That's a lot less hassle than having to switch guitars. I do that most of the time. Most of the time, I will just loop a simple acoustic rhythm in the middle of a song or at the end of a song, and then I'll start playing a little solo on top of that rhythm. The reason why I do this, for one, well, I've always considered myself a lead guitar player, so hey, I want to showcase that. But more importantly, I want to give the audience something different. I want to give them dynamics. Here's the thing, this is the hardcore truth here, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, but no matter how great your voice is or how great of a singer or guitar player you are, people tend to kind of check out and just maybe even get tired of the same thing for 3 and 4 hours, which this gig was actually 4 hours on a Friday night at Keel Curley. So that's a long time to be up there. So I like to throw in these guitar solos here and there. It kind of gives my vocals a break. My voice is pretty shot right now. I was sick a couple of weeks ago. I've got a video coming up on singing when you still have a cough and your voice is not 100%. I'm working on that video as we speak, so that'll be coming out soon. But this gives your voice a break. It gives the audience a break from your voice. Again, doesn't matter if you're the most beautiful singer in the world, does not matter, okay? People tend to get tired of the same thing for that length of time. So this is a great way to switch things up. So if you're not playing with a looper pedal already, I highly encourage you to get one and start practicing to that. You know, loop those rhythms, play some leads over the top of that. It just gives a different and really cool dynamic to your solo shows. The next thing is going to be reading the crowd. You have to read the room. And I'm not talking about like read a book to them or anything like that, but you want to capture the vibe of the room, okay? As a solo musician, you want to get up there and you want to see kind of what's going on and really just kind of feel it, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is because you heard me play kind of a rock style guitar solo at a winery, right? At an acoustic gig. Well, that might not seemingly fit, right? When you just think about it without hearing it. Of course, you heard it, and I thought it sounded great, and I hope you guys thought it did too. Hey, leave me comments. Let me know what you thought of the solo. I do that kind of sparingly. A lot of times when I'm playing the rhythm loops, I'll either play lead on acoustic or I'll break out the electric, but most of the time I'm just playing that clean sound like you heard towards the end of the solo. that gives a really nice dynamic. You know, we're going back to dynamics again here. But every now and then, maybe like once per show, sometimes I don't do it at all. Just again, you read the room, you read the crowd for that night, okay? Sometimes though, I'll break out some distorted leads. I'll read the room and I'll kind of see maybe if they responded well to some of my clean lead guitar playing. Okay, well, let me bump it up just a little bit. Let me change that dynamic just a little bit and see how they respond to that. And I extended that solo by reading the room, people really getting into it. And the funny thing is, sometimes when I start playing guitar solos like I just played, man, the tip jar starts filling up, which is a good thing. Now, there are other times where I break out the electric like that and start doing something similar, and it's just kind of crickets. Nobody cares. So I know at that point, it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this. Let's just do it for 30 seconds and let's go back to acoustic, go back to singing or whatever. But it's just really important to read the room and read the crowd. If you've got an engaged crowd, you can try different things and you really see how they respond to everything, right? Sometimes if you don't have an engaged crowd, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And we're about to talk about that next, by the way. But if they're not really doing much, not really anything going on out there, you're just kind of background music, then maybe just kind of stick to what you're doing, or maybe do try something different to get them engaged. But that actually brings me to my next tip for you. And this will be my final tip I give you guys for playing live. I've got more coming, by the way. Actually, I've got a video I put out a while back, some other tips in getting the crowd engaged. But I want to share this. This is really important. It's something I learned early on. It's something I accepted early on. And I actually just had a conversation about this with several musicians over the past week here. When you go play a live solo gig, you're mainly playing covers. You're playing 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever the gig may be. You have to understand that those people showing up at that venue, they're not necessarily there for you. Now, obviously, if you bring the audience with you, you might bring some friends to come see you, some family. Okay, well, those folks are there to see you, right? They're there to hear you play and support you. But the majority of the people coming to those gigs, again, you're playing cover songs, they're not showing up for you. They're showing up to have a good time, have some drinks, have some food, chat with their friends, and just kind of relax or party or whatever it is that they're doing. You are background music, okay? So I say that to say this. Number one, don't be offended if people aren't like, oh my God, you're so awesome, and just like super responsive. That will happen. I mean, if you're good at what you're doing, that's going to happen from time to time. But sometimes you can just be knocking it out of the park with a song and then just nobody's responding. But remember, they didn't come to see you and hear you. They came to hang out and have a good time. Just because they're not engaged doesn't mean they don't like what you're doing. A lot of times if you're having a chat with a good friend of yours, or just hanging out or whatever, or multiple friends, you hear some cool music in the background, you're like, I like this tune, I like this conversation I'm having a good time. Like Poison says, nothing but a good time. Hey, I actually do a cover of that song as well. Now, it doesn't mean you don't want to try to get the audience engaged. You do want to do that, but you don't want to go overboard, and we'll talk about that in a few seconds. But what I'll normally do is I'll start the show out with just looping an acoustic rhythm and playing a little acoustic solo behind it just to kind of get things warmed up there. Then I'll go into my first vocal song. After that, I'll stop and I'll thank the audience for being here, and of course I'll thank the venue for having me. Then I'll introduce myself, all that good stuff, and then I'll play maybe a song or two more songs, and then I'll go back to the crowd. It's like, by the way, if there are any birthday parties or wedding anniversaries or divorce parties, to get a good laugh out of that one. So I'll engage that way, and a lot of times if there's a packed audience out there, somebody's got a birthday, right? But you warm them up first with the music before you do all that, and that will hopefully drive engagement. Now let's circle back real quick, okay? You're trying to get them engaged, you're playing songs, you're moving around on stage or whatever, but the one thing you don't want to do if people are not getting engaged, you don't want to crank up the volume like, well, I'm just gonna be louder, I'm gonna be more in their face. Do not do that. Remember what we talked about just a few seconds ago. They're not really there to see and hear you. Don't take offense to that. A lot of times people just like to show up and hang out and do their thing, and you're just really cool. Hopefully you're really cool and good background music. So there's a really kind of a balance there that you want to have of engaging the crowd. I also like to advertise the venue's products, like if there's a specific wine, in this case of the winery, I always highlight my favorite blueberry wine, and you know, hey, be sure to stop inside the winery, pick up a bottle or a case, because that helps build that relationship with the venue. So that's a really good thing to do. So guys, I've talked a little bit longer than I thought, and I need to cut this short because my voice, man, like I said, I was sick about 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I had like a 2-week span of no gigs, and I was gonna hit the ground running and get some scheduled, go out there and drum up some business. But I'm glad I didn't have anything scheduled, man, because I was just out of commission. So I had this kind of a really bad cough for a while, and I still haven't quite gotten over the cough part. It's been 3 weeks now. It's starting to go, but my voice is just, ugh. Again, I'm making a video on how to sing and how to still do your live performance, not sick, okay? I don't want you to go perform when you're sick, but when your voice is not 100%, I've got some really helpful tips coming up on that. And I just went through this whole thing. I played a total of 5 gigs over the past week, or was it 4? 4 or 5, I can't remember, with my voice not being 100%, maybe at like 75% at best. So that's coming up soon, and of course I've got some more metal videos coming up for you guys as well. But guys, feel free to leave your comments. Also, real quick, before we end, don't forget to check the links in the description of this video here. If you don't have my free metal guitar practice guide, Metal Riffs and Licks, grab a copy of that. And there are also links to my guitar courses there as well. So do check those out, guys, and thank you so much for watching my videos. Please give this a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed, all of that good stuff. And again, leave your comments and let me know some more things that you would like to know about performing live and solo gigs and that sort of thing as well. I know I've asked you guys a few times over the past videos, but I'm starting to put some more, just integrating some more of these types of videos for live gigging out there. I'm not getting away from metal guitar, don't worry. I'm always primarily going to be that here on YouTube, but I do want to integrate this other avenue that you can take with your music as well, because again, it's become such a big part of my music career here. So I'm very grateful for that. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, you know what to do. Keep it metal and sometimes acoustic.